Welcome back to AGCG. In this video, we'll cover the texture and shading part of the spaceship and the terrain. Let's start with the spaceship texture. As I have mentioned already, the model is from the kit base. I have cleaned and I have done the UV. Let me show you the UV. Yes. So I have kept the UVs into UDMs. If you ask me how I have done that, I have already made a video in the previously regarding the layout. I have used the same model at that time. You guys can have a look if you like. So as you can see, these are the references I have. As I mentioned, like in the overview, the Mars kind of environment, a lot of dunes and the desert kind of thing. A ship which is fallen, a little bit of broken, and a little bit of rusty things. So combined all these things, so I have done this kind of texture in here. Little bit rusty, little bit clear off. Let me quickly show you the breakdown of my layers. So I had divided the materials of the materials into like different parts. For the thrusters, I had divided into a separate material. For the body, I had divided into separate material. For the glass, I had separated into different material. This was my body, and I have given my white shade here, just to break down my color texture here. Here are my windows, thrusters. The reason because I have separated my thrusters and my body is I want to show a lot of edge wear and the breakdown of the paint here, because when my light hits, mostly these are the areas where the highlights will be there, so I wanted to show the detail. So as per that I have done it. Of course, this is not my best in the texturing, but for this scene this is going to be okay, because my scene is a little bit far from the camera. And of course, I'm going to use environment fog as well. So that's the reason. This is okay texture. I can say this is bad, but it will work. But I can do more. Yeah. Let me show you my base color. Italic. Nice. And I have created ID as well. So if I want to tweak a little bit of a color texture for the thrusters, for these parts, or my windows, so I have done it like this. If you guys have no idea regarding the ID setup or IDs, what the IDs are, what does it does, just let me know. I can make another video regarding that. So main purpose of the IDs are like in the shading, I can just control it. If I want to tweak a little bit of shading in this area, so I have given for in this area, in the sense this is the thrusters, so I have given the green matte. So I can just quickly take my green channel, plug it in the shading, and I can tweak it. So that's the real purpose of the creating IDs. That's it for the texture of the spaceship. Let's see what we have done for the terrain. So let's start with the terrain. Before going for the terrain shading, I would like to show you how I have organized my file regarding the nodes in the Solaris. As you can see, this is my ship and there's a material library, and I have given the assignment of my materials. And same as this is my terrain. I have measured it, and then the geometry settings also measured it. Mostly I have used it to enable the cut club. As you can see, I have like a very sharp edges. So to give the cut club, I have just measured it. Measured it. You can just put your terrain here, whatever the geo it is required, or else I just simply mention star, which will take everything, whatever it is added here. And in render geometry settings, one thing I have tweaked is the enable the true displacement here. Other than that, everything is default. As you can see, I have put star here as well, or else you can just mention whatever the geo you need in the primitives. Same material library and assign materials. Before going into the shading of the terrain, let me show you how I have organized it. These are my assets, my main assets. That's the reason I have taken graph. Graph is nothing but it's like a, let me explain you, like a folder. So if I click here, as you can see, this is my project name, Lost on Mars, and I have created a folder which is the terrain, and inside this one everything will be organized here. If I go inside, as you can see, everything will be here. In the same way, as you can see, there is a camera coming because here there is one more graph stage. Camera, whatever I have, whatever the cameras which I create, I can just put it here. Yep. So there will be one more node, graph branch. So difference between both is like this can only take like a 1 second input. This can take like multiple. So that's the reason I'm using graph stage instead of graph branches. What I have done is, like, as you know, like I'm using a lot of Megascan assets. So using that, I have downloaded a few cliffs and big rocks. Let me show you. These are the cliffs. These are the cliffs and these are the big rocks. This time what I have done is, like I took the component builder, as we know, and builder, and I have added everything, whatever I have, like the raw big rocks, cliffs, everything inside. I took the Alembic or the ABX and I manually hand placed it by looking into the camera, because few things I would like to see in the camera and I would like to place according to it, because that will give me a proper understanding like how my scene is going to be look. Let me delete this. Yeah. So once that is done, so one thing I have done differently, which is I haven't added textures there because I want to add a procedural texture. So which I have created here. I go inside here. These are all Megascan textures, nothing fancy. So I just downloaded it. The tiling, everything is same. So few CCs which I have done to match it with my terrain. I will show you that in a few minutes. Let's go back and yeah, let's go for the terrain shading. So the reason why I'm showing the big rocks in this session is because I have used this big rocks in my terrain. Let me show you how I used it. If I go inside, as you can see, these are my rocks. The proxies which are like a good enough. Why I'm using this in my terrain and how I'm using it. The reason I'm using it because I can create a mask around my terrain. Why? Because that masked area I can be used that can be used in my shading. Because in every references, if you see, like in the real life, if there is a terrain, there will be a outer area of wherever the rock is that has a different kind of a texture that will give us the feel of realism. So that's the reason I have downloaded it, this Megascan assets, and I placed it. And if you see, I'm using a mask feature here. So this has my big stones and the cliff areas. Just an invert and a little bit of remap, and I transferred my mask onto the terrain. So this is like a mask C. So let's go ahead for the shading part of my terrain. I go inside. So mainly I have visit two kinds of surface here. These are like downloaded from Megascans only. Let me quickly show you how does it looks. Let me visualize here. Let me disable my backgrounds. We'll take you through the lighting part as well, like how I have generated this one. For now, we'll just continue with this. So inside material shading, let me show you my first material. My screen, as you can see, these are my lines. To disable that, you can just quickly select on this guy. It will be gone. I have put it into like a half resolution, so it will be like quicker. So this is my first shader, first surface shader, so which is like a repeated texture from the mega scans, and I just tiled it according to my will, and a little bit of a CC to match to my references. Yeah, if I show you my second surface shader, yep, this is my second surface shader, which is mostly duals. As you know, I have created a mask in my terrain area, and that I am calling it in my material library. As you can see, mask C in the primware. So I have created a primware in my primware attribute in my terrain, and that attribute I am calling it in my shading level. So using that as a mask, and I am differentiating which one is the foreground, which one is the background. And if I connect this here, wherever the masked area is, as you can see, wherever the masked area is, we will be getting a different kind of texture. Now, you guys must have seen a little bit color change once I have came out of a camera. See, in the camera, cam lens is like this, and as soon as I come out of it, it is looking like this. Let me tell you why that happened. Before that, let's see like the lighting one. In the lighting, so mostly as you can see, I am using like two different types of light. One is the HDRI and another one is the distinct light. So in the HDRI, as you can see, I am using a HDRI called Lakeside Sunrise. Let me show you. This is the HDRI. I have downloaded from Polyheaven, which is a free download. Like lighting for environment can be a lot of back and forth. So I also did a lot of back and forth, and finally I have stick to this HDRI because it has a sharp shadows and there is a warm kind of tone in the light. That is going to help a little bit for me in my scene, because as you know, most of my scene is in the Mars sky. So I used that HDRI. As you can see, I am getting a lot of shadows. If I disable this light, yep, as you can see, I am getting like a too much shadow. I could have cut down my shadow level here, but to fill and a little bit of rim light I can add with my distinct one. That's the purpose of I am using another light here. Now, if I go inside my camera, the reason behind this lens effect is in Karma we have physical lens shader. So what I have done, I have taken a camera edit here. This is my camera, nothing I have done. It's just a normal camera with whatever the focal length I want. I have taken a camera edit here and a matte net. In the matte net, I have created a Karma physical lens. In that, if you see tint and exposure. So what this exactly does it will give you a lens effect. So if I change my color to blue, so you can see this. Of course, like this is not a natural one. Control C and let me add a little bit of this one. Yep. As you can see, this is creating a CC. This kind of a CC for my lens. Let me Control Z. So this is what I have used, because from the HDRI I'm already getting a little bit warm value. To make it more warm, to look like a Mars, I am using a physical lens here, physical lens shader. Inside that tint and exposure, I am adding a little bit more warmer color in the camera. So as soon as I use that, if you see, this is my HDRI colors. And if I go into the camera, this is my cam lens. This is how it looks. That's the reason behind it. I'm using a physical lens. You guys can also test it out, as I've shown you how my terrain shading is, and mixing the two shaders and using the primwares from my terrain. So let me enable my rocks. my rocks and cliffs, everything is here. So this is how it looks. So that's it for this part. In the next part, we'll mostly focus on the scatter, because when a spaceship crashes, there will be a lot of debris and rocks, and of course, like there will be a lot of rocks lying around here. So we'll mainly focus on how I have created and what kind of setup I have used. So that's it for this video. Thank you.